Well, Bronco Nation, I, like you, just found out about Bryan Harsin no longer being the coach at Boise State. It looks like he is going to be moving on to be the head coach at Auburn. I haven't pre-gamed this video. I haven't planned this out. This is going to be me speaking from the heart, reacting, as all of you are, to this news. First off, I want to say that I have been incredibly proud of the job that Bryan Harsin has done at Boise State. I know a lot of people have questioned his ability and have questioned his job taking over as he did after Chris Petersen, which is one of the toughest jobs to take over after a coach like Chris Petersen that led Boise State to the highest heights of its entire program. I mean, everything that Boise State is today. So the program that's seen as a Power 5 member of the Group of Five, a team that is seen as one of the highest competitive members in NCAA football, that's always in a position for New Year's Six. That was all because of Chris Petersen's work. A team that was competing under him as a Group of Five for national championships. They were in the conversation for them, whether or not they would have got in, which we saw they didn't. But they were in the conversation for them. And that is an incredibly difficult job to take over after that. But Bryan Harsin has done an incredible job of taking that team, taking that success, maybe not continuing to build that success necessarily because we were already at one of the highest heights that any Group of Five program can get to, but he has maintained that success. Yes, we only have one New Year's Six bowl under Bryan Harsin, but honestly, the Group of Five competition has gotten much stiffer, much tougher than it was when Boise State was playing. I mean, Boise State is competing with this new American Athletic Conference that is really getting way more of the media hype and bias, that is really shifting the way that Boise State and other Group of Five teams compete for those slots, with the American Athletic Conference being seen, whether I don't believe they deserve it, but being seen as one of those top conferences in the Group of Five, it's been much harder. And Boise State has put themselves in position almost every single year. They definitely should have been to more New Year's Sixes than they have. Maybe one or two, maybe two more New Year's Sixes than they have, but they've been left out, not because of Bryan Harsin, but because of the media bias towards the American Athletic Conference, the East Coast biased American Athletic Conference. But Bryan Harsin has put Boise State on that slot every year. They've had continued success, 10-win seasons, I believe every year under him. I'd have to go back and look because I believe the only 9-win season was under Chris Petersen the year before he left, but they might have had one more 9-win season, I think, when the bowl game. Weren't able to get the win in the bowl game to bring it to 10, but they have been averaging 10 wins or above, 11 wins. They won the conference last year, did a great job sweeping it. This year, COVID hit, and I don't blame this season on Bryan Harsin. He has done a great job. So that's right off the bat. I want to wish Bryan Harsin all the best. I think that he's done an incredible job for Boise State, and I think we were incredibly lucky. I don't think most of us realize how lucky we were to have Bryan Harsin. I hope that Boise State gets another Harsin, Petersen, Hawkins level coach to come to Boise State, but I don't know right now if there's any candidates looking for openings. I don't know if there's any candidates that are at the same level that Bryan Harsin was, and I think we just lost an incredible coach. Now, when this is different, you heard me saying I wish Bryan Harsin all the best. We saw this coming. I saw this coming. I think a lot of us saw this coming. There's been some outside stuff, which we'll talk about in a second here, going on with the program, that it didn't seem that Harsin was happy here where he was. It didn't seem, this was not a shock. When Chris Petersen left, it was a shock. A lot of us, myself at least, felt betrayed. We felt anger. We felt angry that because there were differences in that departure. When Chris Petersen left, there were three things going on. First off, he'd said that he wasn't going anywhere. He said that he wasn't going to be leaving, and then he did. So he lied to us, which was the biggest thing, I think. Secondly, he left us for the team that beat us at the beginning of the year. He left for Washington, who beat us pretty badly at the beginning of the year. And then the third thing is he left the program when it was down, when it was having a bad season. I believe we won 9 games that year. I've got a lot going on my mind. I can't remember that exact stat right now, but I believe we won 9 games. It was his worst season, our Boise State's worst season under Chris Petersen, and he left us then. It felt like Boise State hadn't like he'd gotten bored with Boise State. That's what it felt like. It felt like we have one bad year and he leaves us. And that is not what happened here. Bryan Harsin has never said that he wasn't going anywhere, that he was not leaving. He has been always open and upfront with us. And even in this situation, he never said, I'm not going anywhere. He just didn't address it. He said, I don't want to talk about that, or, we'll talk about that when that situation arises. He never lied to us about anything. Secondly, he didn't leave us for the school that beat us at the beginning of the year, he's not like he's going to BYU. So he's going to a team that doesn't have anything to do with Boise State. They're all the way on the East Coast. And then the third thing is he's leaving Boise State at a high point in our program. Yes, this year has not been great as far as how we won. Him leaving is a kick in the gut on what has already been a hard year, with games getting canceled, losing the Mountain West Championship, players opting out of a bowl game, and now the coach leaves. Yes, I'm not saying this season is the high point of Boise State football, but next year, the team that Bryan Harsin has built, the next year's Boise State Bronco team, especially, I guess it depends on who the head coach is, but I think that they have the potential to be a historic season for Boise State and be one of the best Boise State teams for Boise State of all time. I think they have that potential. I think they have an incredible quarterback, two incredible quarterbacks, incredible running back with Helani, incredible receivers, the special teams building up, and I think the defense with a full offseason practice will be incredible. I will talk more to all of that and why I think that in my season review video, which I'll put at the end of the bowl season. But right now, he's leaving us in good hands. Whoever takes over, anyone could take over. I could probably take over and do okay. and that should tell you how good Boise State is right now. That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke. But Boise State is at a position where I think anybody could take over and succeed right now with where Bryan Harsin has put it at. When Chris Petersen left, that was not the case. Boise State was struggling in almost all areas of the team. We were having issues. Grant Hendrick was not proving to be the quarterback that we saw take over from Southwick and do such a great job with that, or at least in his first game against Nevada. He struggled down the stretch. He wasn't performing to the expectations of what a lot of people what his potential was, and Boise State was struggling. They weren't looking like that dominant team, and it didn't look like they had it in them to be that dominant team. And Bryan Harsin took that team around and brought them to a Fiesta Bowl. Grant Hendrick had an incredible year, an incredible record-breaking performance for Boise State quarterback, and that was because of his coaching and his leadership. And he is leaving us with a team that doesn't need fixes. It needs some fixes on the defense, but overall, it is a team that can succeed. So I do not have any ill feelings to Bryan Harsin. I am incredibly proud of the job he did, and I wish him all the best. There was another reason, though, that this doesn't hit as hard as Chris Petersen leaving. When Chris Petersen leaving, it was out of the blue. There was nothing that should have, Boise State had a down year, but there was nothing outside of that should have instigated it. That is not the case with Bryan Harsin. The recent email traffic has shown, first off, he's under a lot of pressure from the Mountain West, potentially from the administration, from former presidents. Don't even get me into that. But as former Boise State presidents, he is getting a lot of pressures from outside of the program. And there is also, however, the email, because of what his email said, but the emails also reveal a lot of dissatisfaction with the administration itself. I do not blame Bryan Harsin for leaving. I blame the Boise State administration for leaving. They have not done a good job of prioritizing Coach Harsin or of prioritizing the football team as it needs to be. The football team is the moneymaker, it's the haymaker, it's what put Boise State on the map, and the administration has not done a good job of promoting the Boise State football team after athletic director Gene Blameyer left. The administrations that have followed have not done a good job of both in the president and in the athletic department of promoting Boise State and putting them back on that national perspective like they should. And I completely understand. I think a lot of us in Coach Harsin's place, with what the email traffic has revealed, with dissatisfaction about fulfilling scholarships, with being in the Mountain West and not feeling like they're willing to leave without putting the football team the priority that it needs to be, all of those things, I think a lot of us, even passionate Boise State fans, would, which I believe Bryan Harsin is, by the way, a lot of passionate Boise State fans, even in Bryan Harsin's place, might do the same thing or feel a desire to maybe move on. So I have no ill feelings. I do not blame Bryan Harsin on this. I put this fully on the Boise State administration, which is shaping up to be it is just leading the program towards disaster. I hope that something drastic happens soon that can put Boise State back on track. But I don't blame Bryan Harsin for this, and I don't feel that same. I feel upset. I feel saddened. I think all of us do. We're losing an incredible coach. But I do not feel, I wish Bryan Harsin all the best. I hope that he's able to turn Auburn around like he was able to, not necessarily turn Boise State around, because Boise State was a great program and they were at heights, but to be able, I think he has it in him to turn Auburn around like he did with the Grant Hendrick and some of the minor elements of Boise State that were kind of going downhill, to put them back on the map and to put them at the level of success that that program expects. I will be following Auburn football excitedly, not as a fan, because I'm obviously, it doesn't happen, I'm not an Auburn fan, but I will be following Auburn football and rooting for them to have success under Bryan Harsin. So thank you, Coach. I don't think you watch my videos, but if you did, thank you for everything that you did for us as a program and keeping Boise State at the high level of success that we've always been at. Now let's talk about the future here. I don't know who the next coach is. I don't have any more leads than anybody else. There's not a lot of players. Andy Avalos has been mentioned as a potential candidate, and there are candidates at other Group of 5 schools that are succeeding at high levels, but they all seem to be pretty happy where they're at. There's not a lot of Boise State connections that are available. You could throw out Kellen Moore, but I think that he's happy where he's at right now with Dallas, and I don't know if he has I'd hire Kellen Moore in a heartbeat, but I don't know if he has the resume necessary for a collegiate head coach at this point, at least as far as people are looking at, and I don't know if he'd want to come to us yet. I hope down the road he does find his way to Boise. That would just blow my mind. Dreams come true there, but I don't know if that's going to happen right now. There are former players that are out there that are coaching. Matt Miller I think he's a receiver coach over at Fresno State. We do have Ryan Dinwiddie is coaching in the Canadian League. He's a head coach up there. I don't forget the team that he's coaching for, but he's a head coach, and that's a former quarterback, great quarterback for Boise State. So there are options out there with Boise State connections, but there's a chance Boise State's a high enough caliber that they could attract a successful Group of 5 head coach, or maybe a successful offensive or defensive coordinator for Power 5. There's a lot of options. I'll try to keep you guys updated, if not in video format. If you join the Bronco Nation updates page, any information I find on the media, on news sources, I will be sharing on that page. So make sure you join, over 8,000 members. But the future, however, regardless of who the head coach is, this team has enough potential. They have enough leadership, especially in Avery Williams and Khalil Shakir and Bachmeier and other players on that team, just to name a few of their key players who show a lot of leadership potential. But they have enough leadership on this team that they will be fine, whoever is the head coach, at least next year and maybe the year after that. Of course, after that, it really depends on the coach. But right now, Bryan Harsin is leaving the team at a stage where they can succeed at a very high level. And I expect Boise State, I don't think this changes things. I expect Boise State to do an incredible job next year. But we need to get a head coach soon, because players are able to jump ship with the head coach leaving, with the recruits that we brought in. So we need to get a new head coach who's great for the program, who's going to solidify Boise State and or continue Boise State's level of success, so that we don't lose any of these recruits. Because I'm not worried about next year or the year after that, but I'm starting to worry after that if we start losing the recruiting class that we brought in this year. So we need a coach quickly. None of this changes my predictions for Boise State's level of success next year. I think they're going to be a great program. I think they're going to be one of the most dangerous. I think they're going to compete for that New Year's Six and maybe get in a conversation. Under Bryan Harsin, I would have said get in the conversation potentially for the playoffs. It will depend on who the head coach is as far as that level, that elite level of success. But I think that they will compete for the New Year's Six. I'm incredibly excited for the future for Boise State and to see who they bring in. And I'm sure whoever it is, Boise State has always continued to succeed no matter who's been coaching in that chair. I expect them to continue that high level with whoever they bring in. But this is there's no athletic director right now. So this is going to be on Trump and the athletic committee to make that decision. Hopefully there's a candidate that kind of steps up and separates himself from the pack naturally, because I don't know if I trust Trump and the administration to be able to make this decision if it's a close and a tough one. So hopefully there's a coach out there who kind of separates himself, kind of comes forward and is a clear choice, because I think that let the administration cause this in the first place. And I worry about their ability to fix this situation going forward. So that's kind of my 2 cents. That's my feelings, my reactions to this. I'm sure. Let me know in the comments your guys' reactions to this. Let me put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about what I said and your own thoughts. I really am eager to find out your thoughts on this, Bronco Nation, just about Coach Harsin leaving and what you think the future is. What you say, I think it's bright. Especially at least in the immediate future with the current team that we have right now. And hopefully we can attract a coach of the level that a high enough caliber to keep Boise State's far future as bright as the present looks like it will be at least next season. So thank you so much for watching my videos. Make sure to join Bronco Nation Updates page, over 8,000 members, as I said. And as always, #cancel the college football, the CFP committee, and go Big Blue.